Hey, it's Kenias from J2 Esports, and you are listening to Centering.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Centering, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, episode 185, coming to you live and/or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, October 23rd, 2019. Shout out, happy birthday to Theodore Anderson, our buddy Branderson. Had a baby today. Congratulations, sir.
Nice.
Yep. Text me earlier. Very exciting. Anuj, you're next. Gotta get to work on that.
Get to work. Yeah.
I'll teach you if you have any questions. I'll show you how to do it. The time, 8:40 p.m. Central Time. And this will be the best episode ever. We have different intro music, but for longtime listeners, you would know that this is our old intro music. Mainly being just because we got a different mixing board. The Rode Podcaster Pro, I think is what it's called. It's actually a brilliant piece of equipment, but I just couldn't find the audio file for our actual intro on my normal PC, so this is what we're rocking today. That's not going to slow down this train, though, let me tell you what, because we have StarLadder CSGO to get to. We'll touch on that, some crazy outcomes there. What's going on with Navi and CSGO? Just blow the team up. We have little COD drama. Crimsix went on the record pretty much blasting Optic and his former teammates. So good timing right before the Modern Warfare drops, that we have some nice drama to look forward to coming up in the season. And mark it down, folks, for the first time in this podcast history, 3 years. We made it 3 years, Anuj, without actually having to talk League of Legends. But we are a podcast of the people. And the people have asked, why don't you talk League more? And I say, because I don't know anything about it. But my God, we got an expert on today. So we will say hi to Kevin here in just a second. But before we do, hello. My name is Tim. Alongside me, as always, is Anuj. What's going on?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing good. I hope the audio levels are good. They look good on my end. Do they sound okay on yours?
This is the best the show has ever sounded to me. This
God.
is the cleanest, crispest audio I've ever heard.
My God.
You sound like an angel.
Thank you. I do see this does make me sound a little different, but hopefully all for the better. Anything that this voice can get help with, I will gladly take. So yes, as I said, we're going to talk League of Legends. And to do so, we brought on the one guy that we know best. In fact, if you have any doubts on his knowledge of League, right before we went live, I said, Kevin, what are the odds Splice has to win this tournament? And he said, I would say a 20-1. And by God, according to my booking sports gambling website, he was right. It's exactly 20-1 odds. So welcome to the show. He's host of Free Play on ESPN. You can typically find it at Fridays, I believe, in ESPN Dallas.
Usually Fridays, but for whatever reason, some kind of MLB playoff World Series thing is happening and just kind of totaled the whole thing for the last month.
There we go. It is Kevin Correa from ESPN Dallas. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm not getting a sitcom based on my esports life like Rick Fox is, so I'm all right. Disappointed to say the least.
We'll get into that. We could talk about that before you get off, because yes, that is part of. We were going to throw that in Enews, but how they're making a sitcom out of an esports life that ended in a super racist fashion. Can't wait for the punchline.
It's the perfect sitcom, is it not? This is like, it's almost playing out like a sitcom.
Right. So as I said, Kevin, he works with ESPN Dallas, but he also hosts his very own esports show that is on the radio. Typically, we worked right across the hall when I worked at The Ticket, which is a sports radio station here in Dallas. We worked across the hall, so I know how it goes. And You could typically find it on Friday, some days on Sunday, sometimes on Saturday.
Just whenever they feel like it.
It's really the stepchild of radio. Like
100%.
Esports hasn't gotten there yet. So to keep up when it is live or to catch the podcast form, Kevin, what is your Twitter?
At Correa24, if you want to follow the station whenever they post. They actually helped me out. They actually social media with me, and they post at 103.3 FM ESPN. They'll help out with the show sometimes. Also available podcasts across the nation, Apple, Spotify, whatever. Free to play wherever you want to see it or hear it. No seeing it. Not like you guys.
Well, I don't think a lot of people see us either, though, Kevin, so it's okay.
Nah,
Though we do
they're missing out. They're missing out, man.
Thank you, man. We do
Well,
stream
Kevin,
every episode.
We're glad to have you on the show, dude. For those that don't know, Kevin's really one of the genuine people in the esports industry. I've known him for a couple of years now. Really one of the good dudes out there. So we're excited to have him on. And man, I'm ready for you to drop some knowledge on us today.
I'll try. So stay tuned.
Yeah. So again, we don't talk league, Kevin, as you know, as an avid listener of the podcast, dare I say our number one fan, is just.
Sure, I'll say that.
We don't talk league a lot. That's partially because there's no pro ARAM scene, so Enews can't talk about it.
Yep.
And me, just recently, I will say this, I got caught up in the Riot 10 hype. I have played more League this week than I have my entire life. I think I have 6 games under my belt, and I have actually been crushing some TFT.
Dang, okay. Careful, they're gonna come with the professional TFT circuit soon. You can get in on that.
I have no idea. So I play Dota. Oh wow, did I just not sound the most Canadian ever? Gotta catch myself. I play Dota, and sometimes my northern comes out. No, I play Dota Underlords, so I'm familiar with the concept. I think I like TFT a little more. I really have no idea what I'm doing though. Like as far as like the meta because I don't even know the character names or anything.
I haven't hopped on TFT. I feel like I need to do it just to play one of those tactical style games. I haven't jumped in yet.
I've noticed a theme with the characters. It's like, okay, we have like this cat person, and then we have this pirate girl with big boobs, and then we have this guy with like a big sword, and then we have this cat girl with big boobs, and then
that guy's a ninja over there, and he's just like
right. And then we have a ninja, but then we have a spider girl with big boobs, and
this is why we tried League first in my group over Dota.
I mean,
characters are hotter. Let's go.
I see a theme in the character design. No, so Kevin, let's talk a little bit about Worlds, because obviously it's one of, if not one of the largest esports events of the year. It catches the attention from everything. Even your parent company, ESPN, shows highlights from in the top 10. I think last year I saw Worlds highlight in the Sports Center top 10. So, that went over well with the masses.
It's always with the masses. Like, what's with my video games on the big screen? What's the deal with this, huh?
So, I don't really know where to start with my first question, but I do know this, that there are no North American teams going to the playoffs.
That is correct. Out of the 3 teams sent to Worlds, they all came back before the end of the Worlds event.
Which is Cloud9, Liquid.
And the third one was, I believe, I had it pulled up here like a second ago. Cloud9 and Clutch Gaming. It was the other one.
Oh, Clutch. Okay. Now,
were any of them really expected to advance? I mean,
not really.
3 of them expected? Or
the only real surprise was Clutch Gaming. That they kind of made a little bit of a noise going into group stage, but then they were promptly they lost. They were 0-6 in group stage, and they were in it was a really tough Group C for Clutch Gaming. They ended up going up against LPL's Royal Never Give Up, and then Fnatic and SK Telecom were both in that same group. So it was those 4 teams. So Clutch never really had a chance to get out of there. So it's unfortunate for them for the most part to be stuck with, 2 perennial favorites in Fnatic and SK Telecom.
So on that same note then, with Cloud9, last Worlds, I believe it was last Worlds, or was it an LCS that they kind of took people by surprise. They had a majority of a rookie roster, and
It was
looked,
last year.
okay, it was last Worlds. Man, it just seems like it was like a month ago. It has that not really panned out the way people were expecting. I know that they were in a group with, G2, which I know just from being a Twitter League of Legends follower. It looks like they were in a tough group as well, but is this Cloud9 roster not what people thought it was?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Cloud9 out of Group A, which is like you said, it was a tough group. They had a Hong Kong attitude. Can I say Hong Kong, by the way, in the show?
On this show,
Is
you
that a thing?
can. On
Okay,
this
just making
show,
sure.
we allow that.
They pretty much everybody in that group beat up on Hong Kong attitude. They were up against Griffin from the LPL as well, and G2 Esports. And so, like you said, G2 is a perennial favorite in pretty much any esport they're in, whether it's Rocket League, whether it's COD, whether it's Call of Duty, or not Call of Duty, what's it called, Counter Strike. But it's this roster that they constructed. It's definitely underperformed for the most part. I believe there was a tweet by my ESPN butt buddy Tyler Erzberger, Fion on Fire on Twitter. He posted saying Cloud9's roster has looked more like it's been floundering this last few weeks and leading up to Worlds, and now it's just kind of shown you why for the most part. Like in play-ins they were fine, but just on the main stage against teams like G2 and Griffin, they just couldn't keep up. They couldn't compete.
Yeah, even our listener Border, what's up Border, in Twitch chat, which you could be in Twitch chat too, because we stream all of our shows live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, agrees that Group A was just a nutty group to play in. Now G2, just to stay on them real quick, plus 900 to be world champs.
Oh, I'd say
Does that seem reasonable?
They're the best team coming out of the West for sure. I'm talking North America, Europe. They're the best team coming out of the West. I mean, ESPN posted an article. Like I'm gonna reference live ESPN because I just
you do work there.
Whenever they post articles, I wonder what they're writing about today. But they had a top 20 players to watch in Worlds article posted before Worlds ascended upon us all, and in that article they listed all 5 starting players for G2 in that list. Top 20 players, 5 of G2's just took over an entire quarter of that roster of that list. We're talking players around the world. We're talking Faker was on the list. We're talking Huni was on the list. It's a whole bunch of international players, and it's something that I don't think we've seen since season 2. To see so many Western teams, so many Western players actually make a big charge in these player standings.
So what you're saying is, and this is really, we're getting to the bottom on why I asked you to come on the show, because I've recently become a gambling junkie here. Plus 500 just to make the finals. Not that bad.
That's not that
$100
bad.
down, chance for 500. I won't hold you to it, Kevin, but I will be upset with you.
I will say this: just be careful with G2 is up against Damwon Gaming this upcoming weekend, and that's Damwon is the black horse of the entire tournament. Nobody expected them to reach this far. Coming out of Korea, they were expected to kind of falter in the group stage, but then surprise, surprise, they ended up winning on top of that stage, and it's just like G2 has their work cut out for them. And if they win, they have to go up against SK Telecom, who's going to beat Splice. They're going to beat Splice.
Is Faker still as dominant of a player as he's been throughout the years now?
He's definitely faltered a bit as as age goes on. Your reaction time slows. As the wear and tear on your mental state as well. Kind of playing the same game for almost 6 years now for him. Staring at a screen, practicing 8-10 hours a day. It wears on you. And last season was the first time it really showed. Last season was, I think, the first time in I don't even know how many tournaments. I think 5 tournaments that SK Telecom didn't even make the top 4. And it's just like a lot of that it's on Faker, and he will take the blame for it. I've never heard or seen anybody be as competitive in esports like Faker has. Like when he loses or when his team loses and he's like, he's 4-0, 5-0 on kills and stuff like that. He comes up, he's like, all right, this is on me. I did something wrong. I have to help this team, succeed. I have to help them get over this hump and come back next year. And, the year before last year in season 7, the Samsung Galaxy winners they beat SK Telecom. that kind of hurt Faker's ego a lot. And so last year they didn't even make the top 4. This year he made it a goal before, like back in spring split for LCK. He said he was going to make this team, force this team if he had to, put them on his back just to get to the top 4 at the very least. And lo and behold, we're in the top 8 right now. Only, Splice stands in the way of SK Telecom. And you know what? I feel like Faker's going to keep on his promise this year.
I know before we went live, and I'm going to steal this question from you, Enews, because I am curious on it. There was a recent patch implemented in the game, and with League of Legends, it is, if it's live in the client, it's live for the pros.
For the most part, it's usually during regular season, spring split, summer split. There's like a 1 or 2 week delay between when they get posted. But during Worlds, like you said, yeah, it pretty much pops up. As soon as it goes live on the client, the players at Worlds have it. So this kind of patch, it was really focused on the professional scene a little bit more. It was less so on us regular, heathens. We can't really understand the patch notes at this point in time because they're just so so minuscule here and there. It's
I
like
am now a
second.
count level 6, so
you know what? You're on your way there.
I think I'll understand.
You're on your way there. Just letting you know. You could be the next Faker. Who knows?
What was the pros then reaction to that? Because the only thing I could compare this to would be like Overwatch, right? Where, like heaven forbid if you tell Blizzard that, you can just make the pros play it when it goes live, right? Like,
yeah. And a lot of the players, they kind of seem to echo the sentiment that, they like having a more versatile champion pool to pick and choose from. A lot of games with heroes or champions nowadays, you'll see, in the meta, it'll be like you only have 10 champions or 10 heroes you can really play that are really viable in this meta, that if you play anything else, you risk losing or you risk having your teammates laugh at you. In this patch, Riot tried to increase the pool a little bit more. So they turned down like the pick or ban champions. So like you either pick or ban this guy. If anybody gets his hands on him, it's pretty much game over. So champions like Sylas and Yumi, they had to kind of tune them down a little bit. And then other champions, Orianna, Graves, just name a few, they needed, they need a little bit more to help their play rate. And so far, I think the biggest change in win rate over the patch was Kaisa, which is an AD carry. I'm throwing out words as if you guys know what I'm talking about. Just let me know. Tell me when to stop.
Hey, I know exactly. We know what AD carries are. We know the basics. We're not that far out.
All right,
so we got you.
Sure.
We're with you.
All right, just making sure. So like a lot of the changes are literally just like percentage points here and there, a little bit of damage calculation to move around a little bit in the early stage. Helping. It's mostly just geared towards making this champion pool for Worlds the largest it's ever been. There's a stat from last year's season 8 World Finals where the World's like champions in general, like the whole tournament, they played out of like 150 champions, they played 120, which is unheard of.
That's pretty insane.
Impressive.
Like how many, like in Overwatch, how often do you see like even multiple champions not get played at all, or multiple heroes not get played at all
for a whole season? I think didn't we make it to like season 2 before? Was it Sim? I think we made it all the way through season 2 before we saw Symmetra like actually be played in a competitive match.
Exactly. And
which is
Riot, yeah.
Horrendous.
It's a different kind of mentality for Riot. They want to make sure that anything and everything is as viable as possible, right? So you kind of
do you see one team or one play style benefiting more from this patch going in?
For the patch, for the most part, I would say it's definitely geared towards I'd say the bruiser category, a little bit top lane bruiser, kind of hefty damage dealer that you have to kind of chunk down. And here's why I'm hesitant to say that all the way though, because there's some certain AD carries, the player themselves, who will absolutely demolish bruisers, because this is the way that's their play style. They know how to kite, they know how to avoid getting caught, getting into traps. And when teams go in and they focus in on the damage dealers, they know how to get away and survive, and at the same time still keep dealing out damage, which is insane to me. It's an insane concept. I don't know why my guys in like Bronze 5 can't figure it out. Like, hey guys, you're supposed to kite and deal damage, but that's a too high level class for everybody in Bronze 5.
Yeah, let's not start comparing Bronze 5 to people qualifying for World's Champs. I think that's a bit of a high bar,
Is,
but you know.
is it common for patches to be implemented before championships like this within the league? I mean, is this
They
something that's normal, or is this like a
they
one-off?
did it last year, and there was some hoopla around that because last year was a bigger change. You had a lot more weirdly brutal champions like Alistair, Aatrox, Urgot. They were like throughout the entire tournament. They were picked or banned like 90% of the time in the 78 games played last year. And so, I mean, even in the final between Invictus and Fnatic in season 8, you know, they had a literally Aatrox, Alistair, or Urgot was on like every single one of those teams. One of those 3 champions were picked, and so I'm hoping it does benefit everybody's play style. I'm hoping that it allows us to see more variation in who wins. Because like right now, looking at the quarterfinals, Dam1 G2 is pretty much one of the only, like Griffin Invictus might be the other only wild card quote unquote game match out there. The other ones I'm kind of pretty sure I know who the favorites are and I know who's going to win. Like that's what it is for me.
Look, I'll jump off that point then. Looking at the bracket, looks like in the semifinals, all things considered, we're gonna have the SK Telecom versus G2 in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the matchup of the playoffs? Is that fair to say?
It is one of the matchups of the playoffs, I would say.
Like
But
as a dummy, what should I be looking for here?
always look for SKT Telecom. Always look for Faker. That's like he's literally the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James of esports, not of like League of Legends. He is like,
So he sides with China?
oh, well, hey man, I'm not here to make a political statement, all right? Like, man, I can't say anything here or there, right? If he
Neither
wants to
was
make a tweet
LeBron.
saying
Kevin's with the big network, buddy. Kevin's with the big network. He can't take those chances right now.
oh man, but like I said, I wouldn't sleep on Dam1 versus G2. Dam1 coming out of play-ins, G2 the best team in the West. That'll be an interesting matchup to see. For sure, it's a best of 5, so you're going to have about an hour and a half's worth of games to watch. It's going to be interesting to see. Griffin Invictus Gaming is another one to keep your eye on. Fun Plus Phoenix versus Fnatic is one of those matches where I feel like it could go either way in terms of a sweep. I feel like Fnatic could sweep Fun Plus, but at the same time, like Fun Plus gets on weirdly hot streaks, and they could easily sweep Fnatic. It's just it's up in the air in terms of like half the matches, like who will show up and win.
Well, Kevin, for all of our listeners out there that are constantly gambling on Thrive Gaming, could you give us your pick for the finals, man? Who do you got coming in, and who do you got taking it if you want to share?
Obviously, 20-1. I'm gonna go Splice, man. Splice take it all. No.
I mean, with
Not
those odds,
Splice.
if you're betting the odds, that's not bad. Like we could all
You could
go
afford
in
to
on
drop
that
like
one.
you could drop like a $10 bill on that and just call
Bro,
it a day. But
$100 for 20,000? Yeah, I'll take that.
exactly, you're not gonna.
If I had $100 just to throw away, which I don't. But if I did, that's what you want to do.
All right. So, but who do I want? Like, who do I see winning, and who do I want to win? Is really what this comes down to. Who do I want to win?
Of course.
I want to see Faker lift up that trophy one last time before he rides off into the sunset and retires on top of the world.
Is he
I don't think
that
he's
close
gonna
to being
retire.
retired? Like at
I don't-
23,
I'll
I
be
know
honest.
he's been around forever, so I guess it makes him seem a lot older than what he is, but he's only 23.
He's been playing for like 5 years at this point. It's been
Do you think he would retire if he won it all?
I don't know. That's people have asked him that before, and he'll always respond with just the quintessential. Well, we'll see. What happens. This and it's the culture surrounding Korea and esports is so different than what you'd see from North America. Like here, an old veteran wins a championship, he retires. That's like kind of the David Ross for the Cubs did it for Chicago.
Yeah, but a veteran here is also 40 years old, right? Maybe.
Agreed.
Like
That's the
35 to
thing.
40.
Yeah, like it's a totally
23
different.
even in esports is young. Like
It is young.
23 is not considered an old player in esports. I think of an
No.
esports player being old
25
really,
plus.
like 30. No, I mean I'm honestly my mind is shifted on that so much. Like
Really?
30 plus I think is starting to get considered old, but
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of veterans even in Counter-Strike especially 27, 28 years old. So to me, 23 seems
It
like,
seems
man, this
young.
guy still has 3, 4, 5 solid years ahead of him if he's
You're
willing to put in the mental grind. I agree. Doing it since you're 16 is insane. But if he's willing to put in the grind, I don't see why he couldn't
I agree.
keep going.
That's a great point because like I said earlier, like Faker is competitive to a fault. He will blame himself for any kind of losses, and so
That
I
could
think
put some
anything.
miles on it too. Like if that's
Yeah.
if that is your play style or your mindset to it. Also, I will say this: being a Korean and playing League of Legends is like almost being, a hockey player playing hockey in Arizona. Like,
Yeah.
I guess let me reword it. It would be like him being Korean playing in League of Legends is a lot more pressure. Like he probably gets a lot more stuff thrown at him just from Korea and the fan base, like a Canadian would for playing in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're playing hockey in Arizona and you can go walk around the supermarket. No one knows who you are, right? It's just the type of marketplace I think that could wear and tear, or maybe just speed up your mindset of being like, you know what? I've been through this enough, and he's had it. I mean, obviously his career earnings are up there. So,
I mean,
So
we'll
you
see.
say you want SK to win.
I want
Who
SK
do
to
you
win,
think's going to win?
and that's where the fun starts, right? Man,
is that
I think
a foul though? I'm gonna have
that?
to ask our listeners that to have SK to want SK winning, is that like wanting the Patriots to win?
Well, but they
I don't
haven't
know.
won like recently, right? When was the last championship for them?
Last
They got
championship for
second in
them,
2017.
But last
yeah.
championship.
The last actual it was back in 2016, so it was
So
3 years ago.
it's kind of a while, right?
You
Like
know, yeah.
it builds more the comeback
Here,
story, right? Like almost
like
like
here,
Clayster.
here's
Clayster had won several
oh yeah,
championships in COD, but time passes, you don't win for a long time, and you end up being
Yeah, never
rooted
the
for a
big
lot
one
of
or
the
anything
time.
like that.
so like he has 3 championships under his belt already. But you ever see somebody like I want to see this guy dominate for as long as he can forever if he could. That's kind of my mentality. I want to see this guy like succeed beyond like all doubt. I want people to think 10 years from now when esports is like growing insane speeds, right? 10 years from now, I want people to look back and think, wow, remember this guy Faker? He was like the Babe Ruth of our industry. Like
Right.
it's insane. That's what I hope. Because if Faker succeeds, esports succeeds. That's
And
what it
even
comes
like
down to.
here, it's like even to your point, I think it follows probably the sentiment for a lot of league fans out there. Because even Border said it in Twitch chat, saying like he really doesn't care about SK. He cares about Faker winning. Like
Exactly.
you don't really care. Faker could join Fnatic tomorrow, and you would rather see Fnatic win. It has nothing to do
100%.
with the team so
One-
much.
Yeah, 100%. That's my mentality behind it, at least. But who do I see winning? I think Invictus Gaming is going to come back and defend their title. They came in through play-ins. They have a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove to the world that SK Telecom's reign is over. They want to prove to the world that this is the era of Invictus Gaming. They're going to come out and give the world a show. I'll put it that way, because they, like I said, huge chip on their shoulder from last year. If you're defending champs in League of Legends, that almost never happened early on in season was 1, 2, 3. You came into the next season, you were guaranteed to lose. The era of Faker changed that. Once season 3 SK Telecom won, then you had, they won again, then won again. They lost a little bit, but they won again. And so it's just like Invictus Game wants to put their stamp on the League of Legends trophy.
All right. Invictus is also, let's see here, plus 1100 to win the whole thing. So
Who has the best odds?
SK.
SKT.
SK is actually the only one that they're minus 120.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to Griffin at 450. So even if you're just looking at, betting odds, like it is heavily in SK's favor.
It's pretty crazy because you got wait, I guess Griffin plays Invictus first round. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
and that's what, if you look like, if you want to look at some of those odds, like I bet you that's why Splice has such good betting odds, because they play SK round 1. So it's like, okay, so not only do you have to beat them, then you have to go and take on another harder,
and
That's a
let me
lot
be
harder
clear.
route.
A Griffin versus G2, So not Griffin versus Griffin in that first like quarterfinal. Griffin's actually a really solid team. I wouldn't sleep on Griffin either. I'd say for me it goes SKT, Invictus, and then Griffin in third behind them because they went up against G2 in that Group A, that stage, group stage, and it was just 5-1 for both teams. And if I remember correctly, I believe Griffin lost to G2, and then they ended up beating up on all these other teams in Group A. But it's something to look out for the most part. These Korean teams do not sleep. They feast on each other.
Excellent. Well, Nuge, anything else for Kevin before we let him go?
Actually, I do got one more.
Oh.
One more that I want to know. We talked about the favorites here and people that did make it. Anyone that didn't make it, that's considered like a big, shocker in terms of falling short of making the quarters.
Oof, that's a good question. That's a good question right there. I would say J Team from Group B, kind of surprised that they couldn't topple Splice in their match. And what was the other one? I'm sorry, they did topple Splice. They just lost out to GAM Esports, which is annoying because like GAM Esports is 1-5 in Group B. J Team should have beat them and clearly should have made a charge against Splice in Group B, but that didn't happen. And obviously, the biggest disappointment was Team Liquid losing to Invictus Gaming. We all knew that Team Liquid would lose. We didn't expect them to lose that badly. There was a quote from one of the players on Invictus Gaming saying, "If we lost to Team Liquid, we were going to drink a lot of alcohol that night."
Well, coming back to the States, they'll have plenty of it available to them. So
Team Liquid, they don't call them Team Liquid for no reason.
yeah.
Plenty of time. Excellent. Well, again, Kevin Correa, ESPN Dallas, thank you, sir, for coming on the show. We'll love to have you on again. Maybe after Champs, see what's going on there. Because I think does it all wrap up this weekend?
November 2nd is when it wraps up.
Okay, so they stretch it out.
Yeah, so you got $2.25 million.
I guess the finals are November 10th. The semis are November 2nd.
Yes, that's what it was. The finals November 10th. Sorry, I
Wow.
forget it lasts like a month. It's a whole October 10th.
Imagine not cramming an entire playoff into one weekend. Crazy.
What a concept.
Crazy.
What a concept.
It's almost like Riot has thought about how they want to structure their esports scene. One more time, Kevin, give your shout out for your socials.
All right, so you can follow me on Twitter at Correa24. You can listen to Free to Play, the only esports show live on the radio. As of not now, but in a few weeks we'll be back up.
No,
again.
Don't back down. Just say it.
All right, ever.
It's the only one.
Ever. If you ever miss an episode, KESN1033.com/podcast. Click on the Free to Play little icon there, and we'll take you right there. And hit me up on Twitter. I'm always interested in talking League. I cover Overwatch, cover Counter-Strike when I can. I'll talk Smash. I'll talk crap about Smash all the time.
There you go.
Excellent, buddy. Thank you. We'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks,
no problem. I'll see you guys on my esports sitcom later.
Hey, later. Bud. We actually didn't get a chance to go into that with them.
Oh, well, we'll catch up. We will. Man, all that hype up, though, got me excited for betting, gambling, winning some money, and a Nuge. You know where you can do that at? Thrive Fantasy. You download the app. It is your daily fantasy sports app for prop bets. You enter the code TCR upon sign up. You will get an Insta $10 match on your first deposit, a minimum of $10 as well. That is Thrive Fantasy. Go ahead and do it. Tell them TCR sent you. Make millions. All right. So let's get into the other part of our show today. As I fix your webcam on our stream as we switch scenes, it did not like what I did. You sent me the link. I was on my way home. I have family in town, so I wasn't able to read the article fully, Anuj. But you sent me this link and said, look, this has got to... You slammed me up against the wall and said, give me the ball, coach. And I said, okay. All right.
This was a fun read. So Call of Duty
I mean, just skimming through it. Like, even the parts that I picked out, I was like, oh, damn. Oh, damn. And, of course, we are talking about... I'll let you intro it because it's actually called something on their website.
Well, so this is part of the player stories. So it's player stories brought to you by Call of Duty League. It's like a guest editorial series.
It's a Players Tribune. Like if you ever read like even esports, but it's the website Player Tribune. I think started by Derek Jeter. It's like that. It's very candid discussions for
I mean, this is written in Crim's point of view.
yeah.
You know, it's not like somebody kind of put it. Somebody may have helped him put it together, but this is
Yeah, I
this is
think what
him.
it is, not like I don't want to get bogged down on it. I think it's like an actual writer who helps them phrase their stuff because all of them are
Yeah.
so well written.
But I guess what I'm saying in the sense that like this is them. This is what they want to
Yes,
say. Like
these are their
there's
words.
You're not misinterpreting what you're reading here. You know.
Let me pull up the article real quick because I just got to get something out of the way that cracked me up, and I want to know, when was this article posted?
This was posted today, I believe.
Today, like it's fresh, right?
Yeah.
It's not like 2 weeks ago or something. This is on the callofdutyleague.com. It's the official league's website. Okay, this was posted the 23rd today, like you said, Anuj. And right at the top, Player Stories is a guest editorial series from professional players in Call of Duty League. The views and opinions expressed in this article are not those of the authors and does not necessarily, of the authors. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Call of Duty League or Activision Blizzard. Boy, what did that make you think of?
Could have used that statement just a few days ago, man. Like,
oh, that doesn't fall according to your
verbatim
Hearthstone
read
players,
this.
apparently.
Lord.
Okay, I'm sorry. I keep
So
kicking Blizzard when they're down, but I just find it funny.
This is an article, again, written from Crimsix, now part of the Dallas Fuel, former Optic legend. I mean, he's been in the scene for 10 years now, you know, and so he mentions in this article, he dives into the relationship between him and his Optic teammates last year. And there was a lot of hype going into last season for him. You know, they had a tough run in World War II. This was kind of supposed to be a bounce back year, and you saw a lot of potential on that team, right? Like, you know, going to the 5 players, they had Dashy, considered one of the best players in the league. Scump, again, another legendary player. Karma coming back to him. So they were really primed and heading into BF4 with a lot of confidence. So he kind of talks about how that shifted relatively quick. They won the first, you know, invitational. I'm drawing a blank on them. The first championship series. After that, failed to get really beyond, I think, 3rd place. This goes deep, Tim. Like, he gets into how his relationship with him and his teammates felt like he was babysitting. How he felt like, you know, these guys were constantly late. And I'm sure all of us kind of remember, we talked about it briefly on the show, how they were constantly late to their scrims. They were
Oh,
getting
yeah.
blasted on Twitter. It almost
I
felt
mean, they were
like
getting called out by
constantly-
multiple teams. It wasn't like
Yeah,
just one team. It was just
No, it
Optic
was
doesn't
throughout the
respect
whole
your
year.
time. Like, they
And he
really
talks
were
about
not
how
well
these
liked.
guys like couldn't set alarms, couldn't make it on time, weren't being professional, really banded together with TJ, Dashy, and Scump versus Karma and Crim. And you know, he goes into like the revenge that he wants against these guys, and is really getting me jacked for the season, Tim. I mean, I don't know about you, but this matchup right off of the bat is probably going to be the most watched game of the season. I
Well,
would
you already
assume.
have a rivalry, right?
And how it all goes down, right? Like, he talks about after all this time with Hector and the Optic Gaming team, he basically gets a call from Hector notifying him that, hey, you know, there's obviously issues between you and the guys. It didn't. He made it seem like Hex didn't provide solutions on how to fix it, and more so was just kind of almost letting him know, hey, there's these issues. Y'all can try to fix them, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work out,
Right.
type thing. And how, you know, Hex kind of sided with them, and you do see that, obviously, right, in the teams that were formed. Karma's playing in Seattle, Crims is here in Dallas, and the 3 players he's talking about remain with Hex's organization in Chicago. And so it's surprising that he was that open about it, right? Like, there's a lot of positivity, I
Like,
feel like
no
around.
hesitation either.
No,
Like, there wasn't
very
beating
open.
around the bush or anything. He said, like, straight up, it felt like I was babysitting him.
Yeah, I mean, those are his exact words. He goes, "We hated each other." You know, again, strong statement. He says the moment after he got off the phone with Hex, finding out that, realizing that this chapter has come to an
He
end.
wasn't getting carried over.
Like, it's not moving forward with this team anymore. His first call was to Mike Rufail. he
Which
said
how
obviously
sweet is that, right? Like because you have the Envy versus Optic rivalry that's been
yeah.
ingrained into Call of Duty since the beginning, right? And now you have the former Optic player going over to what is, for all intents and purposes, Envy, just wanting to torch his former teammates, and not for like a playful thing, right? Like if you and me played and then we played each other, we'd want to beat each other for like a friendly rivalry. Like, no,
Yeah.
there is no friendly, there's nothing friendly about it. Like, he wants to destroy them. And, it's getting me excited for the season because honestly, before this, I was not a huge fan of Crimsix. Multiple times, basically, because he played for Optic, right? So that's strike one. Strike 2 and 3 is I didn't like the hand wag. That drives me nuts, Anuj. Nuts. No one has to wag their hand so much after playing. Like
It's like his thing, though. It's like a batter going up and
if your
adjusting his
hand is
gloves.
that tight, you need to see a doctor. Like, bro, you got arthritis if your hand is that bad. But I'm super excited. And you know what? Can I go on a mini rant? Can I derail you?
Go for it. It's not the first time.
Also, did you see he was booted off the team on his fiance's birthday? Rough.
That's rough. That's rough.
Or not. Maybe get some, it's
It's her
okay,
birthday,
sweetie. It's
not
okay.
his,
Happy birthday,
so.
You know what I'm saying? But you were probably out anyways, having celebratory time. Yeah. Birthday sex turns into whatever you would call it. Sorry you got kicked off your team sex? Is that a thing?
Works
Anyways,
both ways.
I want to go on a little rant here, okay? Because this has got me jacked for the league. It's got me so jacked, Anuj. I bought and pre-installed Modern Warfare, which I said I wouldn't. I said I was going to wait for the holidays till they go on sale because Activision never cares about their product enough to make it a functioning product until the holidays anyway, so why rush to go out and get it? But no, I said, you know what? Dallas Empire has some sick-ass branding. I want that sweater, and I want those pants that Crimsix is wearing in this photo that I'm looking at right now.
I
So,
was in front of the AAC.
yeah, right? Pretty sick.
Yeah.
So clearly, this would mean that, why don't... Anuj, the game comes out tomorrow. Why don't we just do like a CDL discussion today, talking about all the teams, get it hyped for the launch of the game? Wouldn't that have been a
Comes out
nice
Friday,
thing to
right?
do?
Oh, tomorrow, I guess, for those listening. Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
It
Or I
would have
guess
been nice to...
today for our listeners, tomorrow for us because we record the night before.
It would be nice to know the branding and the roster finalization
How?
going into the game.
This is such an Activision thing, isn't it? Like, like Call of Duty is already a joke because you release a game without ranked modes or a ladder, and your pro league rules are never even set up until like mid-season. You have a game that has a less than a year lifespan to it. Your league is brand new. How do you not have all of these teams releasing their stuff before tomorrow?
Yeah, like maybe not having the roster finalized is fine, especially when it comes to like subs and things of that sort. Like I guess that can take a lot of time to get situated. The branding, I really
It's
thought should
there
have
too,
been.
though. Like there's no way you can convince me these teams don't know what they're gonna look like.
Yeah, now granted we still have a day, so maybe we do see a lot of releases come tomorrow. You're already starting to see some leaks kind of come out, but nothing confirmed. I
Right.
am hoping like tomorrow ends up being like a big celebration day going into
Yeah.
the release of the game, and we see a handful of them come out. But I have my doubt because there's still too many left. I mean, you would have to see one on the hour almost every hour midday.
I'm going to keep track of how long it is until we see anything about the CDL on the launch screen for Modern Warfare.
And it, like you said, it sucks because we're sitting here waiting to really dive in and start talking about it, and there's a lot of excitement here for us. So for those of you that are interested in COD, we do plan on diving in more into that this season. It's a little bit easier to follow, I feel like, with just 12 teams and consistent, you'll kind of see
Schedules.
the
I mean, that's
same
what it is,
names and
right?
schedules.
For us,
Like it does make it.
listen, we're old, okay? We need schedules, okay? I can't do this fly by night tournament every weekend or what. I need a schedule. I'm old.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. But like I said, I would be more excited if everything was ready to go at the launch of the game that they're playing that only has like a 10-month lifespan anyways. It's frustrating. Like, I would have loved to go into the game tomorrow and drop some extra cash to get a Dallas Empire gun skin or whatever, right? That's the stuff that they need to be doing, but whatever. New York announced their branding today, and it's awful.
That's a rough one. It is.
Like,
It
your
is. And
name
I
was...
do want to save these for, like you said, I want to go through a full
All right,
branding
let's save
ranking.
it.
But with that being said, y'all already know. Y'all already know where New York is on this list. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to top that.
I thought LA Gorillas were already bottom tier, but maybe... I don't know. I really do want to do a what's it called? Like a tier list for it. So
yeah, we'll do that.
I think that will be fun to do. But to get back onto the point of the discussion, yeah, I thought the article, if you haven't read it, again, you can find it on callofdutyleague.com. It's quite telling. And even if you're an Optic fan, right? I think now that you see this, like, you kind of always heard rumors throughout the year that they just didn't get along. But now that you see this, you can really go back, and it would be interesting to go watch some of their losses or things that they've struggled in and see, like, oh, yeah, like that body language is not good, or just doesn't seem like it used to.
And he, referenced the "I will never forgive" and "I will never forget." He said that in his release video that they made for Dallas, and he said it. That was directed towards them. Like that. This was. He also walked out of there with no money in that deal after Optic sold. He wasn't given. Some of the players were given.
Oh, really?
Some money from the transaction of the sale.
That's interesting.
Even though they did not have ownership, I believe him and Karma were not given anything, and they're some of the longer tenured members of the team. So I think there's like this. It drives pretty deep with him. You see it throughout the article. Again, it's a great read. Just I love the honesty and the openness, and I hope now that he's local, he's somebody we can hopefully get on the show
for sure. We'll get him on the show eventually,
because he seems like he'd just be a good guy to.
Boy,
look at this.
What a difference between this already and Overwatch League. Like, you would never see this in Overwatch ever.
No,
ever. Everyone is so friendly and they want to be nice and not offend anyone, dude. The CDL, I think, is going to be so fun to keep up with.
Oh, yeah. If this is how Crim is, and how Clayster's outspoken in general.
Oh my God,
we're gonna have a lot of fun. Like the
Dallas is gonna be so fun to follow. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. But we'll have to, because they are giving very little information about anything. Real quick, before we get into Enews, I did just want to touch on this. With StarLadder, Season 8 is wrapping up this weekend. And really, I only want to bring this up for a few reasons, because we've already had some surprises and knockouts. Na'Vi, my God, in Group B has played one of the worst events that I think I've seen them ever play, or at least in a very long time. Like, they are playing like a roster that knows they're about to blow up. You lose 2-1 to G2, and then you go to losers and lose 2-0 to Heroic.
Yeah, and it was Guardians. Like, the problem is Guardian had the worst tournament he's had as a pro, I believe, on LAN. He posted like a 0.7 something rating. You're not going to win with that. I believe he is better than that.
Man, you would hope.
Heroic also.
You would hope FaZe didn't suck the life out of him.
Look, in G2, I know they've had their swings and their ups and downs, but they're not a bad. It's not like there's some horrendous lineup to lose to, right? And then Heroic, I feel like with Heroic, even though they make changes, they just added Katie into the team, and he's I believe the new opera for him. They pull off upsets, right? Again, these games are going to happen. I don't sit there and look at it like Navi is now a terrible team. I look at it, Navi has to go back to the drawing board a little bit here and put in some more work. But this wasn't like losing to a tier 3 team in my eyes. I mean,
I just feel
Heroic
like though
is
we say that way too often about Navi though.
inconsistency has been their issue, and that's why they
Yeah.
make roster changes, right?
For
Like,
a
you're not
team
going to
that
make
has been
roster
a top
changes.
3 team for the better part of the last year or two, I feel like we've just said that way too often of like, oh, this was a bad one.
Well, hey, for the team that has the best player in the world on their team, you feel like losing should always be unacceptable, right? Like, you should
Yeah.
always be in a position to where you can win every matchup. You don't want to see yourself getting 2-0'd to Heroic. That's probably the more concerning thing, is that you couldn't pull off a map and drive that a little bit further. But losing to him as a whole, I don't think is like an embarrassing loss. Again, Guardian does need to step up. He needs to play better for them to have a chance and do anything. But at the same time, we saw a team like Evil Geniuses. They lost to Nip. I think that's a really bad loss. I think Evil Geniuses has proven themselves to be a much better team,
Yeah.
and
And they're playing a little
Nip to
off
me is
too.
kind of in a rebound mode right now.
Who is that?
Who else? I mean, Nip.
Oh yeah, Nip is.
and
And I think, on the note of here with EG though, real quick, someone that I think is struggling that can't be struggling is Tarek. Tarek moved over to that team when he left Cloud9 and went to MIBR. I mean, he kind of has that status of being a game changer, right? Like, he gets on your roster, you instantly think your odds of winning has gone up. So, not on the same level as Simple, but to your, like how you said, with this type of player, with Tarek on the team, you kind of have to have him be performing, or it's just not going to go well for anyone on that roster. So I think what I'm going to start saying is, when Tarek has an off event, which I feel like he has one more, he gets them sprinkled in there. All right. I think it's actually his twin brother playing for him named Derek. So
Derek's out there right now.
right now, Derek is playing for EG, not Tarek. Because, I mean, they're playing well enough, but I think Derek needs to turn it around.
For me, it's like, we mentioned Tarek, but like, just last tournament, we saw Breezy go insane, right? I mean, he was like the best player in the tournament. People were joking around and just being like, Breezy config, willing to buy for $1 million. This tournament, we saw Ethan really step up in certain matches. I think in the who was it? The Heroic matchup, he was like plus 25 or something. He was like the top rated player on his team. I think they have enough talent to where somebody can be a little bit off and them still perform fairly well. And that's why, them losing to a team like Nip bothers me more than Navi right now, who's still working in Boomage to a certain extent, obviously working Guardian back in. Doesn't look as bad. Mouse
Well,
Sports,
did you
another
mention the
team.
losses too that they've had in NIP? The maps?
I know they were bad. I just
They
don't
were
know what they-
16-4 on Dust 2, and on map 3 Inferno, again, 16-4. Those are bad losses.
That's rough.
Bad losses. I mean, especially on Dust 2, like we've said it before on the show, Dust 2 should always be a close map, just given the fact that, like, no,
Everybody's
Dust 2
played
is
it a
no
trillion
team's.
times.
Yeah, like no team is best on Dust 2. If you have to play a team on a map, pick Dust 2 because you could probably, it's your best shot.
You know it inside. You know all the strats inside and out at this point.
There are no surprises.
Yeah, I think a team that I'm more concerned about at this point is Mouse Sports. They are not showing growth. They're a young roster still. Obviously, Kerrigan being the veteran there. Kerrigan on Twitter today, after the tournament or after they're eliminated, he goes, "We just don't have what it takes at the moment. Been a tough month for us. Think it's time to think about swapping around some roles." I don't know exactly, what he's referring to in terms of role swap, but I agree there needs to be some sort of internal shift here because they were young like 6 months ago. Now they've had some time to play together. You should start to see some consistency out of them, but you see this whole roller coaster with Mouse and Rob's performing at a high level sometimes, Frozen, Walksick. They have enough star power where if they're doing it consistently together, they're going to be a top 10 team pretty easily. But right now, I just feel like they're overly inconsistent, unfortunately, and then they're on their way out. I do believe we have our top 8 set. Just to let y'all know who we got advancing here. Don't have it in front of me.
Top 8, you have RNG, RNG, Renegades. Well,
It's the same thing.
I read the
It's
abbreviation.
the same thing.
I read the abbreviation RNG.
You don't know what you're
Renegades.
getting from them from tournament to tournament, so it
That
might
is
as well be
so
RNG.
true. they're either they're either gonna make it to the finals or they're going out last, right?
Yeah.
They're like, look, we
And
don't
they go up
middle,
against
okay?
Vitality.
We either want to go home early or we want to stay late.
Exactly.
They're playing Vitality. Then you have Nip and
Now that-
G2.
Is that a rematch from the major? Renegades Vitality?
Ooh.
Were they the eliminator match? I don't remember. I think it might have been.
I know they both made it. I can't tell you who played who though at
Yeah.
the major. MIBR and
is
Fnatic.
That's a throwback from 2017 right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's an exciting one to go head to head.
That'll be a good one. You have Nip G2, winter finals for Group B. That will also be an interesting one, just with how both those teams are playing very well this event. So should be a good one. And then EG
And neither
Furia.
of those teams, neither of those teams were expected to be the advantages out of that group.
No,
At least
and
in the
with
upper bracket.
and on the same note there, I think with the way EG has been playing this event, Furia does stand a chance to knock them out early. So we'll see. But that all picks up, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, because the finals and everything are this weekend. So we'll talk about that, though, on Monday's show as far as how that wrapped up. But it's been a pretty good event nonetheless. I don't have the Enews music uploaded on this new soundboard because I forgot, so we won't have bed. How will the world go on? But anyways.
You got any elevator music, Tim? Throw something.
I'm just gonna hit random buttons on this board because it doesn't tell me what they do. Let's see. This says crickets.
That's perfect.
That sounds like a squeaky wheel. That's a really bad cricket. I'm just gonna turn that down. So no.
We'll go with
Anuj.
no music.
No
today.
music. No. Here, let's just do E-News the whole time. In CSGO, Poison is in discussion with OG Gaming. Of course, OG being the new kids on the block.
Yeah, and Poison's kind of been a long-awaited star in the scene. He's been followed closely by a lot of people in the scene. Currently, I guess the rumor is that he is potentially taking Jampy's spot as the opper. Jampy, it's interesting because they were saying that he has this could be for a potential VAC ban on one of his accounts. I don't know if that is 100% been confirmed.
Which is not good. Valve does not take that lightly.
No, but I'm kind of surprised that why is that an issue right? Like they didn't know that before, or that's coming.
Could have been a Smurf account, a throwaway account, or something like that. You never know.
Yes, yeah. But Poison currently with Windingo. It'd be interesting to see. Like I said, he's somebody that a lot of people have been keeping an eye on. So if he got an opportunity to play with a lot of veterans and move up from pretty much tier 2, tier 3 into a tier 1 team, I think that would obviously serve him well and give him an opportunity to shine on the biggest stage, because they're definitely going to be involved in a lot of events.
In Overwatch League, Prophet and Jester were released from London Spitfire and quickly picked up, and I think very obviously, I think everyone knew exactly where this was going, by Seoul Dynasty. Big move. I mean, really, that's probably the biggest move, in my opinion, of the offseason so far, because Prophet and Jester have both been staples for the Spitfire. I mean, they were there when they won the whole thing 2 seasons ago in Season 1. But, I mentioned it on the show that I wouldn't be surprised if you see more of this happening when home games start. Obviously, for 2020, teams are going to have to play more games at home, meaning, these players are going to have to invest more time in their actual team city. It can't all be LA anymore. So, these Korean players, obviously, it's a little bit more appealing to go play at Seoul. Another signing that happened was Carpe actually signed a 3-year extension for Philly. You don't see that very often for Overwatch right now, or really in esports in general, to have like a set extension. So I thought that was kind of big boy sports of him.
Yeah.
Like that was
3 years is a long
cool.
time.
Yeah. To see a 3-year extension like that signed, I was like, oh, that actually sounds like normal sports there for a second. Watch out, Overwatch League. People might take you serious. In COD, we already talked a little bit about New York branding was announced. We'll talk more about it in a future episode, though, when we can do everything. Today, the preload starts, so if you pre-ordered it or pre-purchased it, I guess is what the kids say nowadays, go ahead and download it on your computer or whatever you're playing it on, because it is cross-platform between Xbox, PS4, and PC. We will be on it. So I have family in town. I'll be on late at night. Anuj.
Same for me. I'll be later at night.
Later at night. But nonetheless, we'll be playing it this weekend. If you have it, if you are going to play it on any platform, because I assume we can all add each other to a friends list somehow, let us know. We'll squad up with you, right? It's 5-on-5, 6v6 or something for the pug rooms?
I think so.
Hit us up. We would love to play with some of you guys there. And other news, a lot of other news here. Alt, friends of the show, partner up with Nerd Street, also friends of the show. So that's it. We'll find out
Pretty
more.
awesome, though.
Yeah,
we'll
I mean,
get some
those are
more
two
folks.
big companies in esports teaming up. You have a clothing company and Alt, and also production. They do production work too. Nerd Street, production, event planning, everything there. So I'm very curious and excited to see what spawns from that. If they ever need two handsome-looking fellows to do anything,
We will find them for you. Just let us know.
Absolutely. Blizzard paying tribute to In Control with in-game items for StarCraft. I thought that was kind of neat.
It's awesome. That's really cool. I wonder if if they're purchasable and like the money maybe
They're
gets
free.
put towards. I didn't know if there was a way to donate through it or something.
That
else.
would have been
That'd be
nice
neat.
too.
But this is awesome. An awesome act. It commemorates him in a way that you can only do in video games, right? To keep somebody's memory living on within the game.
Yeah.
And an item is a cool way to do that. And so, any way to honor him, and I don't think anybody could hate on that story or them giving him that gesture. I think it's definitely deserved.
No, and Blizzard needs any good press that they can get, and this was a good one. This was a win.
Yeah.
This was a win on their part. Rick Fox's lawsuit has been settled. Plans to start Twin Galaxies International. There's that.
There's that with Jace Hall. That's his former business partner. Lawsuit was.
Hopefully it goes
was
better than the last
settled,
one.
The Twin Galaxies International, not really loving the name. Maybe it'll grow on me if they have a cool logo, though.
Well, I guess, Twin Galaxies, I mean, they host events, everything here. I guess he's just going to be launching their
Esports division.
Unless they're completely different, but don't get me wrong. I think Twin Galaxies hosts, aren't they the ones who do, official arcade stuff? Yeah. Official supplier, verified world. Yeah, they're the company that verifies world records for, cabinet arcade machine games. I don't think that... I don't know. Maybe Rick Fox really likes arcade machines.
Get back to you on some of that stuff there.
I don't know. North American top 500 or top 100 FIFA player organize a Discord to avoid playing each other in game. So for people who don't know, in FIFA, it's a very competitive atmosphere. You don't want to hurt your ranking, right? So, hey, let's avoid the top 100. If we just avoid the top 100, we're playing scrubs all day. It boosts our ranking, which helps, obviously, with orgs finding you and a lot of benefits spawning from it. So what these guys did was they created a Discord, and I don't play FIFA, so I don't know how they could have avoided each other. But it's exactly what they did. I guess they waited to queue up. They wouldn't queue up at the same time. So I'm sure the fallout from that will probably be harsher than what, I mean, they fixed matches is what they did.
Yeah, it's pretty cheesy. Interested to see what
But
repercussions they'll get because
you
there's
know
some
what,
big names
FIFA,
in the
you're going to
FIFA
fit,
scene.
you fit right in with actual FIFA corruption. So
They might just
congratulations.
let it slide.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, we're proud of you. We're proud of you,
G-
boys.
give us a cut and we'll be
Yep.
good.
Are you go ahead and take the next few here?
Yeah, so this was pretty interesting. So Mark Cuban did an interview, and this is going into his thoughts on just esports in general as a business, as an investment opportunity, what his thoughts were on investing in a team or purchase, possibly even owning a team. So he just it's a pretty interesting read or a watch. But he claims owning a team in the US, and his words are, it's an awful business. Reason for him is he doesn't think that there is a great way to monetize it currently, and the numbers are a little skewed in terms of, like, he brings up Overwatch. He's like, Overwatch was widely celebrated, but worldwide it had about 300,000 viewers. He goes, how many of those viewers are actually in the US versus how many are overseas? He's like, the number is relatively small as a whole. Like 300,000 as a whole is not a large number. Even a million, not really a large number. And he goes, what we're finding out, or what a lot of these venture capitalists are now realizing, is that they came in incredibly aggressive, and now they're trying to get funding to kind of cover themselves a little bit. So he does see this, he didn't say this exact word, but it sounds like he sees this as a little bit more of a bubble right now, where valuations are kind of at an all-time high. Um, Not to say that the industry won't continue to grow, because he mentioned that he does see esports as a growing industry, still with a lot of room to grow. But he goes, right now, it's not the easiest to monetize. He talks about meta changes causing issues within games. He's like, you don't really see that in traditional sports. He goes, you could be 90 days into a season, all of a sudden a meta change happens, and the roster that you once thought was great is no longer good because the game is different today. And so he goes, there's just a wide range of challenges, including like player salaries and things of that sort, that just in his eyes don't line up to be a great investment in the US. He said in the Asian markets, it does a lot better. They're able to monetize it a lot more. And so there's a lot more money involved there. One thing he did say also is he mentions esports, and he goes into a couple of games and he says Fortnite. And he goes, well, Fortnite's not an esport. It's kind of interesting that he knew that, I mean, I
Right.
don't
Like
think
he
it
knew
is.
it's just
It's not like a professional esport in mind. They have
right.
a event or ran like little
They
events, but I
have
don't think it's like
events, but it's
not like
different. It's not like, especially like from his business standpoint, it's much different.
yeah. I think even for us, as so many people that cover esports, the reason we
Yeah.
don't really cover Fortnite a whole lot is because it's not league made or seasons and
Not
stuff.
much
But
to talk about.
yeah, so anyways, that was his take on it. Quite interesting. Again, you can watch the full interview. I will find the link. I'll throw it on Twitter.
CBO, we actually kind of talked about this a little bit, but I'm not really thrilled about this, but CBS and NBC both are forming esports shows. CBS will be the one featuring Rick Fox, or the story of Rick Fox, and all his upcomings and everything in esports, everything there. They'll be live and coming up in 2020. I don't see these succeeding at all. I don't know who their market is. Like, are you going to watch this?
I am gonna check it out.
I'll watch it
See
for the
if
show, like, so we can talk
yeah.
about it, but I'm not
No, but
gonna.
like, I'll watch it and see if it's a funny sitcom and I can relate to it in some sort of way. I'll continue watching. Let's put it this way: I'm willing to give it a chance.
Right.
Will I do? I think they'll be widely successful? I don't think so. But
The only,
again,
to
if the
me,
writing is great and it's funny, like I'll watch it.
the best gaming esports sitcom show that you could think of, and I really don't think a lot of people know about it anymore because they stopped, was Pure Ownage. Did you ever watch that? No,
Mm-mm.
you definitely know what it is because that's where Boom Headshot came from.
Oh
FPS
yeah,
Doug, I could dance all day, I could dance all day. Everyone runs faster with a knife. The owner, Noobs, the micro, all of it comes from Pure Ownage, man. I worshipped that. It was like an online show. It's like it wasn't even, they're from Canada. But that to me was the peak of gaming comedy, and I just feel like these shows that jump on board with everything else just isn't going to really.
It's all up to the writing. I mean, you look at a movie like Grandma's Boy, right? Like it's a gaming show, but it's a movie, but hilarious, like an instant classic in my eyes. So yeah, if the writing's good and it's funny, I'll continue to watch. If I think it's cheesy and they're just trying to use esports just to talk about
One of them will
esports, then
definitely do that. Like
yeah.
one of them will try to do that. And you have one other thing?
Yes, to our millions, possibly even billions of Indian listeners out there, I just want to wish you all a happy Diwali. So hopefully everybody has a safe, fun Diwali with their friends and family. Enjoys the weekend, celebrating, partying, doing all the fun stuff that us crazy Indians do. So happy Diwali to everybody out there, and hope you enjoy.
Happy Diwali, everyone. From one white guy to you.
If you don't know what Diwali is, go watch the Office episode. Perfect job explaining it.
You know what's funny is I actually know what you're talking about now. I didn't know that was the holiday, but now I know.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, good show, man. Good show. What an exciting time. Thanks again to our guest, Kevin Correa from ESPN Dallas, to hop on for a little bit, talk about some League of Legends. I know we don't really do it a whole lot. And again, that's because we are self-admitted dummies when it comes to League. But Kevin is not. He knows his stuff. So we'll have him on again, talk some League. If you guys liked it, let us know at The Center Ring on Twitter or in our Discord, which you can find on the website, tcr.gg. Let us know if you like that kind of insider stuff, whatever. We can have him on more, talk some League up in the future coming up. We will be back next week. Give our takes on Modern Warfare. Will we see anything about CDL in the game? Only Lord knows.
I think next Wednesday's or Thursday's episode, probably do some sort of maybe BlizzCon preview.
Yes.
Maybe dive in what to expect at BlizzCon, and a lot of announcements kind of already rumbling. So might not be a typical esports episode, but we'll definitely dive into what our expectations are, things that we'll be doing out there, give you an idea of what's going on with the show. So you can expect that next week too.
Definitely. So yeah, because BlizzCon, I forgot that's already next week. Exciting times. All right. Well, that does it again. So episode 185, it's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you skipped around, if you listened to the whole thing, love you all the same. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. If you listen on iTunes, smash that 5-star rating. Let us know what you think of the show. We love you, appreciate you, and we will see you guys next time.